Hey guys, what's up? Is your friendly neighborhood UberGoose here, back again with another Magic the Gathering video. This time, we're going to be playing Nexus of Gates. So, this is a deck that has been kind of, it's been around, for sure. And, it's a very unique kind of deck, and it feels really good to play. So, that's what we're going to go with. First of all, I just want to say this list, complete credit for this list, goes to Brandon Large on Twitter, at Large Brandon. He tweeted this deck list at the Arena Deck Lists Twitter account, which, by the way, you should absolutely follow that Twitter account. It's incredible. And yeah, I've just copied the list completely. So full credit for the list goes to Brandon Large. This ain't me, right? But I can at least give you a deck tech. I can give you a rundown, and we can talk about it. So first things first, similar to other gate decks, we're playing a lot of guild gates. So we got 3 Azorius, 3 Izzet, that's 6 total, 4 Gruul, that's 10, 3 Selesnya is 13, 4 Simic is 17. Now, I gotta say, I've been messing around with gate decks, and what's incredibly bizarre is you're better off being 4-color and like close to just straight up 4-color. Like the more of the splash lands that you're playing, so in this case white is basically just the splash, so Selesnya and Azorius, the more of those the better. So 17 gates is a pretty good number. I'm pretty happy with 17, and that is out of 26 lands. So there are 9 non-gates, and 4 of which are Plaza of Harmony, 1 is Arch of Orazca, and then the last 4 are a mix of other things. 1 breeding pool, 1 steam vents, 1 forest, 1 island. I do like having at least 2 basics. I think that you definitely want 2. I think 1 basic is always going to be too few. And that's simply because there are effects that want you to fetch lands out of your deck, with the biggest one probably being Assassin's Trophy, at least for this deck in particular. So let's talk about the deck. There's 1 Anticipate. I don't know if this could be something else, but that's what Brandon was running. So that's what we got. Yeah, sees more cards, sure. We got 4 Growth Spirals. This card's pretty much an auto-include in any gate deck. Probably any blue-green large mana deck. We got 3 Guild Summits. This card is nuts. This is kind of why this deck works. So to elaborate a little bit, right? So Nexus of Fate is the kind of card where you want to draw most of your deck before you start using the Nexuses. I think it's Nexuses, probably. And so Guild Summit works perfectly in this kind of deck because Guild Summit, in general, is a very good card advantage engine. One of the best currently in Standard, if not the best currently in Standard. The only downside is some games you might draw too many cards with it. So drawing too many cards isn't really a concern for a deck that plays Nexus of Fate. So if anything, it's actually strictly a positive because it gives you a higher probability of consistently finding your Nexus and chaining them together to eventually win. So Guild Summit's great for this kind of deck. Then we have Gates Ablaze, of course, is a gate deck. We got 2 Gift of Paradise. I do actually quite like this because this deck does want to ramp. This works well with Wilderness Reclamation. This is pretty good against aggro. I mean, this card actually feels really good. It also does synergize with Plaza of Harmony because if you put this fucking Gift of Paradise, Jesus, I forgot the name despite looking at it 2 seconds earlier. If you put Gift of Paradise on any gate, then all of your Plaza of Harmonies are going to tap for Rainbow. So if you're screwed, like on a color, if you don't have enough red, for example, Gift of Paradise not only supplies you potentially red off of 1 land, but also if you also have Plaza of Harmony, then you're going to have additional red sources. So it's pretty cool for that. There's 3 Knight of Autumn in the main deck. I actually like this. It feels pretty good so far. 1, it is a creature. This deck, as far as win conditions is concerned, doesn't have the most. And having Knight of Autumn as a potential win con is actually quite nice. So being a 4/3 is often relevant. Destroying artifacts or enchantments is probably the mode that I've used the most so far. probably because I just haven't run into aggro, but then, of course, gaining 4 is also quite good against aggro. Then we got 2 Chemist's Insight. This is a very good card in a Wilderness Reclamation type of deck. Instant speed card draw that is recursive is like everything you've ever wanted. So yeah, this card's great. We got Circuitous Route, 3 of them. This is just more gate stuff. 3 Wilderness Reclamation. This card is best buds with both Nexus of Fate and Expansion Explosion. Also, this card eats so much removal, it is unbelievable. I have had Guild Summits live through like 3 removal spells because they all targeted, you know, Wilderness Reclamations, basically. Yeah, this card is pretty degenerate in a lot of ways. Then we, of course, have Nexus of Fate. So this is not a win con, but it does allow your win cons to actually be win cons. Like, attacking with a 4/3 doesn't sound exciting until you take 3 turns in a row, and then it's, like, a lot of damage, right? That's 12. So, yeah, Nexus of Fate is very, very good for turning creatures sideways. It's also very good for stretching out, like, a window, basically. Like, there can be timing windows where the opponent taps out and they're like a blue deck, right? And let's say they tap out for like Teferi, and then you go, okay, on your end step, I'm going to play an instant like a Chemist's Insight. And if they counter that, because it's real juicy to counter a Chemist's Insight with like a Syncopate, for example, then on the following turn you can just Nexus of Fate and maybe do something else, and then you'll have another turn to have complete free reign. So stretching out timing windows is a very good use for this card. Using this card in conjunction with your creatures to also be a win condition is also great. It just makes a lot of sense, right? This card is very strong. People are calling for a ban. I don't think it needs a ban. I just think people need to stop playing best of 1. So that's my take on that. Then we got Expansion Explosion, 3 copies. This is probably the win con, maybe? I don't know, it's hard to say. I actually haven't used this as the win con yet. I'm sure that it's good as the win con for the deck, right? I'm sure that explosioning your opponent for like 12 is pretty good. I just haven't had that come up yet, but I've only played a few games, so we'll see. Hopefully we'll get a game where it does actually come up. And we got Hydrate Crisis because the deck plays green and blue mana. And let's get into it. So we're going to do some ranked best of 3, because now that is an option. By the way, I did record a video with just straight 4-color gates, not Nexus of gates. And, I mean, the video kind of showed the positive things for the gates deck, but I kind of hated the way that the video turned out because I was tilted out of my fucking mind. So, yeah, that's why this video is here instead. I had a cool thumbnail and everything. This hand is pretty okay. It's not exceptional by any means. It would be really good to get an untapped land, so we could play this on turn 3. Maybe even turn 3, turn 4, and then a land. But I think it's fine. Hopefully we're not facing Esper midrange. Esper midrange might be the worst matchup. I will say Wet Golgari. This could be anything. Wet Golgari is actually like a pretty positive matchup. It was probably Esper. Well, maybe it's Wet Golgari with a really awkward draw. That could be possible. Yeah, kind of looking like it. Interesting. Or it could be something else entirely that I don't understand. I mean, like, what if this is just Sultai control? It's kind of feeling like Sultai control, or they just have a horrific draw. Yes. Well, we'll find out. Let's see if they're running counter magic, huh? Yep, they are. Okay, so this is like a weird Sultai control deck. Interesting. This is actually, like, pretty fascinating. Never seen something like this. Unless they're... No, I mean, they can't be Wet Golgari. Okay, cool. Well, I probably ditch a Gates of Blaze, right? Like, they've shown me exactly 0 things that I'm concerned about, so... Auto Tapper. Main deck negate. Okay. Well, this game is a wonky one immediately. And they got a Memorial too. Alright. Well, let's I don't want to play this because it's obviously getting countered, so I'd rather run out something that is not super threatening. like this, and then suit up Simic Guildgate, I think. Cool. So next turn I get to Hydroid Krasis X4, draw 2. I don't know how to play against this deck, by the way, because I've literally never seen it in my life. This is a total brew, right? I've got no experience facing this. I'm not surprised at all. So campaign goes back. Trying to figure out what the green is for. Really unfortunate to just miss a million land drops in a row. I mean, the deck plays 26 lands because it really wants to hit land drops, and you know we're against a disinformation campaign deck, and we're just missing land drops. It's pretty much just like kind of worst case scenario overall, I'd say. The good news is that they don't have huge card advantage. Also, the even better news is that they've tapped out, so now we get to do some degenerate bullshit. So that's nice. I do appreciate that. I approve for sure. So let's play a Wilderness Reclamation. And then how much mana will I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? So I can totally just do this now, I guess. Sure. Do it before the untap trigger, yeah, in case we actually hit a land. So now we're going to end step. By the way, setting a stop is like the best way to make this shit work. But it's pretty fucking dumb. All this is stupid. Use surveilling in response. Sure. So next turn we get to explosion probably for 1 million, I guess. It's kind of the game plan, I think. Only have 2 mana left. That's okay. I'll get over it. Okay. And my turn again. Ooh, we could do Crass Daddy as a 6/6. That doesn't seem nearly as good as Explosioning 4. Holy shit, it's a lot. 12? Wait! 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 16 mana, yeah. That is indeed X12. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's the game plan, huh? So go to end step, get the trigger on the stack, float our mana. I wonder, I mean, I should just hit him in the face, right? I think that just makes the most sense. Like, I'm not concerned to, you know, about dying to a Doom Whisperer. It deals 6. I'm at 28. You know? Now they're at 6. And I have infinite cards, including a Nexus of Fate. I gotta discard 7 of these, though. Jesus. 1, 2, 3, 4. Knight is probably pretty good. 5, 6. I don't want to discard that island. Alright, cool. Yeah, that'll do. That's a pretty good hand. It's a pretty good grip. Probably going to discard an Is It Guildgate? Oh, alright. Oh. Yeah, I mean, this is why you run basic lands, but unfortunately I drew both in the top 30 cards, so feels bad. The super good news is that my opponent is... They're not dead, but they don't really have much going on. The reason they didn't play this, by the way, is because currently they can actually just crack the Memorial. I still think they probably should have played this information campaign, but who am I to judge? Yeah, I mean, I can just Crass Daddy. X6, draw 3, go to 9 cards. No, I think I actually want a Knight of Autumn here. This, like, probably makes my opponent want to counter badly, but apparently not. Let's try this one. Please and thank you. I think I'm just going to pass. Yeah, I'm just going to say go. probably planning to growth spiral. They did nothing. So they didn't play anything, nor did they do anything. Okay. Gonna discard a Simic Guildgate, actually. It's just like way better than Simic as far as guild gates are concerned. Moment of craving. Sure. Don't have 12 mana. Do have a Nexus of Fate, though. Yes, I would like to resolve this. Ooh, found another one. That's pretty good. Hopefully we find another land. That'd be real good if we found another land. Okay, another Nexus of Fate. It's not, like, the worst thing in the world. In fact, now with the Gates Ablaze, this is actually pretty good, because we can just clear off this Doom Whisperer. And if my opponent wants to counter that, then I get to just Nexus. Alright. 1, 2, wait, 1, 2, 7. Yep, that does indeed work. Okay, so he just lets that happen. X5? No, probably not, huh? We'll see if they tap out here. Nope. So they're really just holding up counter magic. Chemisters? Sure. I'm gonna let this one resolve because I doubt they'll actually be able to double counter me. Thought Erasure? Well, let me just play one of these in response. And then probably lose the other one to Thought Erasure. I mean, now my opponent's in a tough spot, right? Yeah, they counter that. Cool. Right? Now I don't take an additional turn. However, now they're tapped out. So they have to take the biggest threat, which I guess is Expansion Explosion. Sure. So does that mean they have creature removal in these two cards? Crisis for 2. Now, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here, right? Draw 4, gain 4. There's another land. That's not bad. In fact, that's quite good. So now we are dealing 7 with this. Campaign. I'm just going to ditch an insight. I'm probably not going to have enough time to play 3 insights. 2 is probably already pushing it. Honestly, 1 sounds like more than what I'm going to end up playing. Sure. Alright, cool. So catch-all removal. You got it. Okay. So, I mean, now I basically just force them to have counter magic or die, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, alright. They have exactly 1 card. At best, they have 2 draws to find exactly, like, negate or syncopate. Is that right? I mean, let's think about this. Is there a different way that I can do this? Probably. Like, do I believe that my opponent couldn't possibly have counter magic here? They've literally already played 4 counter spells. I'm just gonna go for it. Like, if it doesn't work, then ouch. I mean, I guess I make me draw. Like, if he's gonna gain life, obviously, you know, I want to have 8 more cards in hand. Yep. So that was Vraska's. So now he needs to find negate or syncopate. Alright, cool. That was actually a close one. So this is an interesting brew. I still don't know what my opponent's really doing with the green. I guess it's just Crisis. Okay. Give me negates. Give me Cindervines. Honestly, Crushing Canopies seem good as well. Because so far, I've seen exactly Doom Whisper and no reason to run green, except I'm assuming that they're running Crisis. So having Canopies to deal with their already good enchantments and Disinformation Campaign and Search for Azcantha, but also to kill their only threats, seems very good. So let's cut these. Let's cut the gifts. Probably go down to 2 Gates Ablaze. Can't imagine needing 4. And I think I'm going to trim 1 Reclamation and 1 Growth Spiral. The trouble with sideboarding with a Gates deck is most of the cards are pretty integral to the gameplay. So you don't really want to, like, cut all of the cards. The exceptions being something like Gift of Paradise, where against control, it's kind of just like one more land drop, which is not nearly exciting enough. His hand's rough. We are on the draw, and we have a redraw to find our third land. Obviously, we have no red mana, but if we get up to 4 lands, then we're golden. I'm going to try it. I might regret it. This is a pretty loose keep, so I don't really expect this to go well for me. But, yeah. Brick into brick. Thief of Sanity is very good against us. That's a reason to keep Gates Ablaze in. Alrighty. So Thief of Sanity is a pretty disgusting card against this deck. So far, of all of the cards that I've seen played against me... Alright, cool. We lost 2 lands. I don't think I like that. He's negating a growth spiral. Sure thing, bucko. Alright, well, I'll play another land then. I don't think you should negate growth spiral, but I could be wrong. Yeah, let's have one of our own, maybe. Let's try it on for size. 2 negates down. Sure. Probably gonna lose Circuitous Route. What the fuck? Why do they never take the right card? Like, I mean, maybe he's assuming that this is like the way we win or something. I don't know. It might be true. If he hits Crisis, he didn't take this Crisis, so I think he hit Crisis, and now I'm tilted. Yeah, give me. I guess I just need like red. So like, is it seems correct. Two more lands. Yep. There's another Nexus. I hate this. Let's play a Cindervines. Playing my negate. Alright, well, let's play a Cindervines then. Okay. Interesting decision to counter the first one and not counter the second one. I wonder what that means then. I mean, to be honest, I'm dead. Like, my opponent's had an active Thief of Sanity for a million turns in a row now. Also, he's milled, like, exclusively lands when all I want to see are lands. So, it's pretty awful where I'm at right now. Alright, well, we're getting somewhere, I guess. Is not getting... Oh, it actually is resolving. I guess I'm going to go life because it's just going to get hit with removal anyway. Like, technically making it a 4-3 is a lot better. But it's just going to get hit with like a Vraska's or an Assassin's Trophy or something. Like having a 4-3 versus a 2-1 and gain 4, the 4-3 is way better for the situation where we're racing. And either way, if my opponent holds the Thief back, then, you know, they trade. And 4-3 isn't big enough to trade with anything else that my opponent is doing. So I'm very dead. Look at this! What the fuck? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lands. My opponent has hit 9 lands. What? Okay. Well, he knows I have Nexus of Fate, so he can't realistically tap low. I mean, or he can't tap out. That's very rude of you. I think I'm going to response with a Nexus here, because now, if he wants to counter Nexus, he takes another 1. Which I think is just worth it. Devious Cover-Up. Some sick sideboard tech. This Nexus is now completely gone. It's exiled. Okay, I'll just concede. That's fine. Yeah, so Hand Disruption is pretty good against this deck. Thief of Sanity is very good against this deck. So it's possible that I should actually be keeping all my Gates Ablaze in. I don't know. It's a weird situation. I'm honestly wondering if I kind of want to board in the boys. And I think I do. At the very least, the Rams, I think, are going to be good. Maybe we can cut the Knights. because we're keeping in Cindervines and Crushing Canopy. Still gotta make 2 cuts though. 2 cuts. I have no fucking idea. Well, my opponent's horrified about Expansion Explosion, but I don't think they should be. I'm wondering if I actually want to make some cuts there. Maybe I can run 3 Gates Ablaze and cut like 1 expansion or 1 like Circuitous Route. Let's do that. I don't want to cut another Growth Spiral. I don't want to cut any Chemister's Insights. I don't want to cut the Crazies. This hand's totally fine. Totally reasonable. I mean, it's going to get hit with Hand Disruption on turn 2 before I can actually resolve my Gatebreaker Ram, so that does suck. The reason I'm saying that is very simple, really, because they always have the turn 2 Hand Disruption. I've never not seen them have it. Right? Like, they literally always have Thought Erasure on turn. What the fuck just happened? Alright, well, let's find out if my opponent boarded low enough on creature removal if this just annihilates them. Let's find out together. That is not good for them. I'm wondering if I play this or just, like, hold this up or something. I think I am going to play this and kind of just make them counter it. Yeah, that's fine. So, one thing about playing against control decks, by the way, is you always want to be in a situation where, like, you're getting things past counter magic. Yeah, they kept a loose one. That's good for us, obviously. You want to always be in a situation where, like, your things aren't getting countered, but the thing is they have counter spells. Like, you're going to get countered at some point. You can't just play draw go against control. Yeah, they kept a hand that was much looser than what I would have kept, probably. They had, like, no interaction, basically. They had a counter spell. Maybe they had more. I mean, I did sneak my Ram underneath them, and it is very possible that that was just a good sideboarding decision. Like, maybe that's actually how you board this deck against control, is you bring in the Rams, because they're good against control. That, you know, assuming that the control is sideboarding, quote, correctly. And I say quote because, like, maybe it's not correct for them to board out all their creature removal, but they probably do. I don't know, it's kind of a awkward situation, right? Where you might want to keep in some of your removal. This hand's kind of loose as well, by the way, on the play specifically. On the draw, I think this hand is, like, almost a snap keep, pretty close. Obviously, I'd want a 3rd land no matter what, but on the play, it's fairly loose. Thankfully, never punished. So I'm playing this one second instead of Selesnya because I don't, for one, I don't need white mana, and for 2, it actually allows me to leave up expansion to copy whatever my opponent's doing. And of course, they're a control deck because nobody plays anything but control in best of 3. Not gonna play that, it just gets countered. So I'm gonna play this one. We're gonna hit the Selesnya Guildgate so it can produce the colors that I actually care about. And we're gonna say go because I don't have a 4th land. Ooh, they also don't have a 4th land. And they discarded a Nexus of Fate. I'm shocked. I shouldn't have played that first. I should have played this first, but it's probably getting countered regardless. Okay, never mind. Give me an is it and an is it. So the reason that I'm so quick to get all the is it Guildgates, which by the way, is this deck is only running, is it only running 3 is it Guildgates? Because that's probably wrong. It's like almost certainly wrong. All right, so now here's where we like auto win the game, I think. The question is, do I want to Krasis for 5, or do I just want to set up Guild Summit? Pretty sure this is the very obvious answer. Ooh. Ooh. Not many things feel as good as... I can probably go Gates. Not many things feel as good as playing a fucking Guild Summit uncontested and drawing like 5 off of it. If Fairy tucks it, yeah. I mean, even if he tucked it, that still wouldn't have been a good decision, to be totally honest. Alright, so he has 3 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. Could just go for a Nexus here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is -2, so I can't do that on top. I think I just say... I think it... yeah, I think I say go. Yeah. And I probably just ditch the Chemist's Insight now. I want to hold on to one Gates Ablaze in the event my opponent actually is playing creatures, like Crisis, which seems likely to me.
Skip to the good part.
Let's skip to the good part. So I'm going to set a stop here. I shouldn't need to, but I'm going to do it anyway. Oh, Wilderness Reclamation. They have 1 mana remaining. I will play this card, which allows me to take an additional turn. So now I have 2 turns in a row. That seems pretty good for me. The bad news is my opponent might also get the Nexus. All right, they either didn't have Nexus or they don't know how to play Nexus. 1, 2, 7. Let's do X8. It's probably getting countered anyway, actually. So let's just go 7. It's also not like I need that many cards. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Excuse me? Okay. Buddy, this is my first turn. You should have saved that one. Discard 2 cards. It'll be a Forest and a Gift of Paradise. Alright, I'm gonna play another Gate. And then I'm gonna turn my mans in the sideways direction at a very slight angle to kill your Teferi for free, probably? We're getting Seal Awayed. Come seal away, come seal away. Well, I think that's okay, because post-combat we can just Knight of Autumn. Wait, how much are we going to be left with? 3? Isn't that perfect, huh? Yeah, that's fine. So we're hitting his Wilderness Reclamation, in case that wasn't abundantly clear. Yeah, right, this is fine. Because if I hit Seal Away, then I get back a Crisis that is just dead instantly, so who cares? But obviously his Reclamation is going to be very relevant. On top of this, I do still get to hit the Fairy for some amount of damage. And we found another Nexus of Fate, so, you know, the hits, they keep coming, and they don't stop coming. So I'm going to play a Nexus of Fate. I'm going to allow that to resolve. And then I'm going to play a Chemist's Insight from the hand to draw additional cards. And then I'm going to think about Expansion Explosion. A little unfortunate I didn't find a Wilderness Reclamation yet. Feels pretty rough. Well, we're going to bonk the Fairy, I think. Unless I'm playing Expansion Explosion. Nah, we'll just bonk the Fairy. Maybe I am playing Expansion Explosion. Maybe that was wrong. Not sure. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. X10 Crisis. That does seem pretty good. Yeah, that's fine. There's a Reclamation. I will play a Guildgate. Wow, he conceded. Alright, cool. So that means he just didn't have more answers in hand, I guess. Cool. Give me Canopy. Give me Negates. Give me Cindervines, because he probably isn't even running a win condition, and Cindervines basically guarantees he just dies. Probably cut down to 2 Gates Ablaze. Again, I don't really want to go super, super low. Honestly, I wonder if I even need Canopies if I'm keeping in all the Knight of Autumn. Probably not. Are Canopy better than the things I can trim? Probably. Yeah, I think trimming a Growth Spiral and, like, I don't know what else to trim. Maybe a Reclamation. Because I don't think Reclamation is exactly part of my win condition in this matchup. It's not that it's bad. You know, if it were bad, I would cut them all. But I don't think it's very likely for it to resolve and stay on the board. So I'm basically just trimming there and having more cards that are likely to be relevant. This hand is fine. Yeah, I'm going to keep it. And I'm going to actually start off with Simic Guildgate. And then on turn 2, I can play Island, holding up Growth Spiral or Negate. Obviously, ooh, that is good for me. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm just going to play Island and say go. If my opponent does nothing, then I get to just Growth Spiral, but if they do something, then I negate it. Which is pretty good for me. Wonder, I mean, that resolved instantly. I wonder if I actually just play this. Like, this seems fine, right? Yeah. It does seem fine. Yeah, no, that seems pretty good. No. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, that's pretty stupid, right? That's pretty ridiculous. I mean... Oh. Yeah, alright. I mean, here's the thing. If I were playing in paper, 0% chance I would go for it. 0%. But because I'm playing on Arena, and people on Arena are lazy, me included, and allow the auto pass to, you know, exist as is basically a multifor, so I'm gonna go to 5. Yeah, his hand's probably the best we got, so. Yep, alright. That'll end up being pretty good. Get to play Gate, into Guild Summit on 3, into potentially Circuitous Route on 4. Probably not, but we'll see. So yeah, the reason that I went for it is because my Growth Spiral just instantly resolved. There was no pause or anything. And if my opponent had a counterspell in hand, it would at least pause, and then they would let Growth Spiral resolve. But because there was no pause, I concluded there was no counterspell. So, just went for it, basically. Please do not be running Spell Pierce. Why does it? It's so awkward how it just randomly wants you to manually tap sometimes. I've found no consistency to it at all. I even, in my recording of that 4-color Gates deck that you'll never see because I was tilted super hard, I literally had a situation where I had like 4 gates untapped and 4 non-gates untapped, and I played Guild Summit, and not only did it not ask me how to tap, it tapped a Gruul Guild Gate over a Stomping Grounds. I don't know what the fuck to do. Like, what did I do wrong? Right? Like, what did I do? I didn't deserve that. But for some fucking reason, it was just like, how about you go fuck yourself? Here, tap your gate down. Like, nah, I want to tap that gate down with the end of the battlefield, please. Thank you. That'd be much better. Alright, I hope he charts a course here. Beautiful. So I already played land, so now we're almost guaranteed resolving Circuitous Route. Again, it's possible we're not. Like, opponent could be playing Spell Pierce. But Syncopate doesn't do it. Alright, cool. Yeah, I guess just grab a Gruul and a Simic. So it's weird that there's only 3 as a Guild Gates, despite the fact that I think that might be the best gate in the deck. Not sure, though. I feel like there should probably be 4 copies of it. Probably. So this is a pretty good situation that I found myself in. I mean, I have a card advantage engine. Obviously, my opponent still gets a lot of card advantage with the way that they're going, and our clock is going to be pretty rough coming up here. Yeah, this is already just 1 mana to activate, so now if my opponent... Ugh, and a Phoenix. Alright. I actually really want to play this Phoenix deck. I think that's what my next video is going to be on. The new Phoenix deck that runs Terramander. Ugh. Well, the good news is Gates Ablaze is pretty sweet here. The bad news is... Ugh, we're getting, what, 13'd? It's pretty rough. It's actually not that bad. like 13 sounds like a lot, but like, it's probably fine. We're probably gonna get there. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. Yeah, can't really do much on top of this, but hey, we do get to at least delay things quite nicely. Maybe I should have played Gate first. Eh. I could Knight of Autumn as a 4/3. I mean, they're probably not going to have anything else relevant. Actually, it should probably be Gain 4. Because they're Phoenix. Like, they're probably not really going to develop a threat that can block my Knight. I mean, sure, they have Electromancer, but like that's pretty much the only thing that I'd be concerned about. And Phoenix just blocks a 4/3 super well, so I think the 4 life is going to end up being a lot more relevant in general. So they shocked. That means that they're going off this turn, which is absolutely shocking. Sorry. Just, oh, yeah, right. It's because they have 3 Phoenix. That's pretty good. Do we have a 4th? Is there a 4th? Oh, they have a shock as well. Not a 4th Phoenix. That's at least good. But, you know, 3 Phoenix and a removal spell is pretty much like worst case scenario for the home team here. I do think that this is where Archway Angel really would shine. This is the matchup. I'm feeling pretty dead, honestly, but hey, we get a couple redraws at maybe finding something relevant. I mean, it's not great, you know, we're not in a good position, but like, hey. Yeah, game 4. It's still a 2-turn clock given what's on board, but alright, well, I mean, it's gonna resolve, so that's cool. I guess we're actually set up to potentially just kill the opponent here. He's probably not blocking, so 11 is not 16. There is another Arclight if there's also a shock, I'm dead, which would suck. But if there's not, then that gain 4 was very relevant. Fuck. Well, we do have a redraw. Explosion. Alright. Good game. If we did find Explosion there, they were dead, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, I mean, they had to be. I had 1 million mana. Alright, so Archangel, this feels like the absolute best case scenario for it. Cindervines also seems quite good, despite it not really being useful for the second half. But the first half is very useful. I don't think we want... Well, actually, they don't really have any removal for just fat idiots. So, like, maybe we actually do want Rams. Maybe Cindervines is worse than, like, Negates, or even... Knight of Autumn is probably bad here. Gift of Paradise does seem good still. Crisis seems great. Most of this honestly seems pretty good. I don't think I actually care about bringing in Negates, because negating their spells doesn't really matter. They're still getting... You know, they're still casting them. So, Negate doesn't do a lot against Phoenix decks. So I'm going to cut a Growth Spiral, and honestly, Gates Ablaze, now that I have Archway Angels as well. I have plenty of things to now actually deal with their threats. Also, killing them once isn't very relevant. If I could exile them, that'd be a different story. But just playing Wrath of God isn't actually what I want to be doing in this matchup, despite the fact that my opponent floods the board frequently. His hand's awkward, but it kind of does most of what I want it to do. So I'm going to try it out. Obviously, we don't have red mana, but we are likely to resolve a Guild Summit here. Oh yeah, for some reason, by the way, stops actually stay between games in best of 3. I'm not sure why. It's a weird bug. Alright, that's literally the greatest draw in the entire universe. So, very happy about that. If they, by the way, play Electromancer, I'm probably just Gates Ablazing. Yeah, I'm Snap Gates Ablazing. I do not want to die to a turn 3 like double or triple Phoenix, right? Like that's how I lose this game, is my opponent just going off. They don't even have a third land. That is good for me. All right, manually tap first like a dumb little idiot, because that's what the game forces me to fucking do. This hand's bad. It evolved to be quite bad. Finding the Nexuses is pretty good. But, yeah, okay, we're still getting Phoenixed. It's just 1 turn later. I mean, I guess 1 turn later is pretty good for me. Ooh, he only has 1 Phoenix. And he might not even... Wow, he doesn't even have the 3rd land. He's probably running 19 lands. It's not uncommon. Could play a 2nd Guild Summit. That feels like totally not what I want to be doing. Yeah, I'm just going to say go in Chemisters end of turn. Potentially threaten that I have, like, counter magic or something. Could have also expansion discovery, but I think I'm going to hold off on that. Okay, so he kept both on top. Interesting situation. Okay. Weird. What the fuck are these? Is this like mono interaction? It must be. Because why would you not just fucking bring back a Phoenix here? I feel like bringing back a Phoenix is like the most automatic thing in the fucking universe. So I'm actually going to shock. Because this allows me to hold up expansion on counter magic. Yep. So now this is just going to resolve. Probably. Yep. Oh, that doesn't do anything. Oops. For some reason, my brain was just like, it's a counter spell. Fucking counter it. Yeah, whatever. Honestly, that probably won't matter. Obviously, I'm an idiot. You know, sometimes you make mistakes. This is one of those times. My bad. I wasn't thinking at all. Boy. See, when you get into autopilot, things don't go well. I'm still very confused as to why they didn't... I mean, I guess they really wanted to make sure that they had counter magic up. I don't know. Sure. It's only one Phoenix. I mean, I'm in a okay spot. Obviously, that was a really bad situation to end up in, where I just threw a card away. But I do have enough card advantage that I don't think that's actually going to matter too terribly much. So let's just start with this. Might get stroked again. Did not. Please keep scrolling. Is it? Is it? Draw 2 cards. Go up to more cards. There's another growth spiral. And there's a ram. Okay, a little late on the ram, but, you know, we'll survive. No reason to play growth spiral here. I don't have another land, so we'll just hold off and give my opponent less info. But we're probably dead. They've now shocked twice, so... They had no reason to shock last turn, but I assume this turn they probably also don't have a reason to shock. I'm probably just dead. And, you know, you might look at the fact that I lost this game, because I'm going to lose, and be like, wow, idiot, why'd you throw away Expansion Explosion? Could have saved you. No, 5 mana is enough that, that I'm going to get Phoenixed anyway. I really would like to find Archway Angel, like right now, by the way. I'm gonna do this now, actually, just to play around any sort of shenanigans if I find like a, you know, plaza. Yeah, never lucky, huh? All right, well, this gets countered and then I lose the game, I guess. I mean, what else am I doing? They boarded in Disdainful Strokes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this sucks. I'm in a shit spot. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Yeah, I'm just gonna play this. Get it countered, lose the game. Doesn't really matter what I play here, as long as they have any interaction in hand. I just lose here. Ooh, that's good news. Could still be a Disdainful Stroke. Ooh, resolved. Dope. Alright, Growth Spiral. See an additional card. Hey, there's an Angel. So if they couldn't counter that, that means that they just can't counter Angel. Which means... yes, this tapping is fine. This means this is resolving and I'm going up to a very large life total. Unless they slow rolled me. Alright, cool. I guess it's not that large. But 12 is a lot more than 2, I will admit. And now we actually have a clock. And we have a defensive blocker. Oh, we have 2. So my opponent's probably going to deal 6 here. Ooh, they might not. In fact, it's looking pretty unlikely. They went 2 top. Okay. Now those shocks are looking questionable. This is a pretty awkward spot, though. I found a lot of non-gates. Okay. So it looks like they're getting in for 6 here. They still actually need to play one more spell to bring back Phoenix. I believe, right? They've literally only played this and then discarded. Okay, cool. This is great for me. I mean, I think they actually have to stay on D, right? Like, it actually kind of feels like they can't attack. Seems like they're just doing it anyway, though. All right. I'll block this with my 3/4 with flying. Thank you. So now we get the Nexus and the game ends. So that's pretty fucking rad. Yeah, I like that. That's something I enjoy. Ooh, that's pretty nice too. I like that. Alright, may as well just play this one just so we get more gates to deal even more damage with the ram. Make it so the ram on its own is lethal. Doesn't matter. Alright, yeah, Archway Angel is exactly like... yeah, it exists for this exact purpose. Absolutely. So, that's pretty good. I still don't think we bring in negates. Maybe we kind of have to because they brought in Disdainful Stroke. But most of the things that they're going to be stroking are me tapping out anyway, with the exception being Archway Angel. It's actually a tough call. Still want some number of Gates Ablaze. I mean, it felt pretty good overall. Sorry for bonking the microphone. Very good that I ended up winning that game. I got fairly lucky finding the angel when I did, but that's magic, right? Sometimes you get lucky. This hand looks pretty dope. Pateramander. We're gonna turn 3/4/4. Actually, they might even have lava coils. So maybe I don't turn 3/4/4. Maybe I hold off. Maybe I don't even have a chance this game. I mean, I have six life here. I do have at least one Phoenix. Probably this turn. We'll see, I guess. I mean, they've been to land, so it feels fairly likely that they definitely have a land. What the fuck is happening? Why is... I mean, I guess Mountain's not that good. But, like... boy, am I confused, huh? Alright, I think this changes my game plan. Like, this just gets lava coiled right now, so I'm just gonna go for Guild Summit here. And of course manually tap because I have 3 mana, and who knows, maybe I want to not tap my gates. So now I can Guild Gate for value and have a creature that's out of range of Lava Coil. So they just top deck Steam Vents. I could also just go Plaza plus Circuitous Route and just try to get way more mana and get a Krasis out there. Not sure if that's better. It feels like it might be. Okay, I'm very thankful that my opponent doesn't have another Phoenix. And they've been to Terramander. Yeah, that's good. This is very good. They only have 1 Phoenix here. So I think I am gonna... No, I am gonna Guildgate and Ram here. I feel like it's fairly unlikely for me to die from this life total. They need 2 Phoenixes to do it, or some amount of burn with a Phoenix, probably. Because that guy's getting in for 5, so I'm probably going to 5 here. So then I guess Plaza... Oof. This clock is not very forgiving. Because now I'm dead if I don't Krasis. Wilderness Reclamation's not bad, but it's going to get countered. So... it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't here. I mean, I definitely Krasis for 3. Get you're just barely out of range. Probably have the Krasis get countered. Interesting. So it resolved. That's good. And a Gates Ablaze is also very good, except for the part where I don't have enough gates to kill the Pteramander. Fuck. I can get there, though, if I find another gate in the top 3 cards of my deck. I can get there with a Gruul Guild Gate, Growth Spiral into another Guild Gate. That's another Phoenix. So if they do have removal for Crisis, I just die. But if they don't, I'm actually in a pretty good spot because I have a fairly strong clock. But I feel like it's pretty likely I die here. There's 2 spells. Here's the 3rd. I don't even know if they're playing Lava Coil, by the way. I got nothing. I got no clue. The good news is I also dodged Disdainful Stroke with the play that I was describing. The bad news is I pretty much just have to chump. But I guess that doesn't matter too much because I'm basically dead if I don't make a big Gates Ablaze. So that's pretty much all I got. Pretty much all I got. Yep. I'm dead if I don't go for it. There we go. That's pretty good. Still dead if they do actually have counter magic. But I don't really have options, so do this pre-combat. Dope. And if they don't have removal for Ram and they don't actually play 3 spells this turn, then I win. But if they have land, the chance of 3 spells is very high. One spell. They discarded a land, which means they must have a land. Which means I'm probably dead. Because Radical Idea is another spell, and then basically any spell does it. Alright. Well, they won. Close game. If I was on the play, I actually would have won this game. Play versus draw. So, obviously the reason I didn't go for Plaza of Harmony is, 1, it wouldn't have saved me. And 2, it also means that I wouldn't have been able to Gates Ablaze. So, yeah, pretty unfortunate the way that game turned out. It was a fun match, though. I enjoyed that a lot, actually. I do think that Phoenix deck is fairly underrated at the current moment. It does have inconsistencies, but it plays kind of like the Phoenix deck from GRN Standard. The main difference is that instead of Drake, it keeps its curve real low and plays Pteramander. And I actually think Pteramander is better in that kind of shell than Crackling Drake. Well, this hand's weird. Against aggro, this hand seems incredible, so... Well, nobody's playing aggro. But I guess against control, it's also good. I'm hitting land drops, so I'll try it. I don't think I've played against a single aggro deck in best of 3 ranked. I mean, I guess the Phoenix deck is aggro. I don't know. I'd classify that more as tempo, but I guess that might technically fit the bill. What, Golgari? Okay. Fine by me. By the way, the reason I call this Wet Golgari instead of Sultai is because blue literally only exists to splash like a card most of the time, and then maybe some sideboard cards. Yes, a land. All right, I think I'm just gonna slam a Gates Ablaze here, especially now that I've drawn another one. I think it just makes a lot of sense here. Completely takes the pressure off, and yeah, it just sets up fairly well. Now, Vivian Reed, by the way, this card is disgusting in the current meta. Like every single thing, like every single deck, this -3 is relevant against, except for like mono red exactly. But hey, I mean, if you're doing best of 3 ranked, you know, do what mono red? All right, no reason to kill the elves. There's just no value there. So I'm going to play an Azorius Guildgate and say go. Because my opponent, no matter what, is just playing Vivian this turn. So killing the elves just saves 1 life. The good news for me is my opponent's making sure that I know every single card in their hand. They're working really hard to throw away hidden information. Hey, Choops. I don't think I care about the Choops. Believe that card is not relevant. I'm gonna go, is it? Got plenty of green. The good old do nothing for a million turns in a row. The control classic. So the bad news is we don't really have great ways to deal with planeswalkers. So I'm currently in a situation which is very awkward where I have a Vivian that is pretty close to ultimate. The good news is if my opponent overextends and just plays their hand out, you know, in advance of the ultimate, I can get them pretty good. The bad news is if they don't do that, I'm just gonna die, so. Yeah, just give me double Gruul. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, I could play Arch and just get the City's Blessing right now, but like, what does that even do? It's not like I have the mana to use it. So the hand went from pretty borderline to really bad after I drew basically only lands for however many turns in a row. So it's pretty unfortunate, but eh. Yeah, it looks like they're going to play it smart and just not extend into potential board wipe. To be fair, neither of those two other cards is, like, very good here. Right? Choops and Hostage Taker want something to hit. I think I'm even going to just play this here, to be honest. I'm just going to activate this here. So I have more mana in the event that I find something that's relevant. So now I'm kind of incentivizing him to -3 instead of ultimate, but he probably still just wants to ultimate, which means that my Wilderness Reclamation is probably in a good spot. He did not do either of the two good decisions. That is good for me. He might actually have ways to deal with Wilderness Reclamation main deck, like Assassin's Trophy and stuff, but like, I don't know. This seems questionable to me. To do neither ultimate Vivian nor destroy a Wilderness Reclamation against a deck that has 8 billion lands. I'm not so sure. I'm not convinced. Seems like this might be one of the only ways that you could like lose, honestly. All right. It's a pretty good situation. Let's do this. I'm probably going to like fully tap out and just draw a million cards. 1, 2, 3. Because I'm likely untapping. Very likely untapping. Just like 7. Keep like 3 up. Yeah, because I can now Gift of Paradise before an untap. There's a Growth Spiral. That's pretty dope. We'll gift the Forest. Alright, thankfully my opponent like sat there for a second and it allowed me to set up my stop. Because otherwise we'd be owned here. Like completely owned here. It's so finicky the way this shit works, by the way. Alright, we'll just cast it. If it resolves, it resolves. Dope. Alright, it seems like they're not running like main deck counters. This means I can't Growth Spiral. That's probably worse than just double Growth Spiraling. So now I'm just looking for a win con. Seems fairly good for me, considering my opponents let everything resolve. There's the win con. Cool. Feels like I can't lose now. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe they are running counter magic and I'm about to get got, but I don't think that's true. So I'm going to set the stop. I'm going to play this. And we're going to do some fucking math here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. I guess I'm just going to play this for x equals 25 right now, and if they don't die, then I'm just going to take another turn. That's actually risky as fuck to make me draw. I mean, it doesn't matter, because if it resolves, then I win, so. But maybe I should have thought about that and targeted them instead of... Well, I guess I have Nexus of Fate, so maybe that's totally fine, because now I just get to loop Nexus of Fate forever. Yeah, it seems good. Alright. Easy enough when your opponent just does the wrong things. Took a star. They didn't see creatures. They're probably boarding out removal, so it seems like a good time to bring in the boys. Couldn't anticipate. Don't even know if I want negates. Like, it counters Vivian, and Vivian is pretty rough. But most of the things they're doing aren't non-creature. Probably cut the Knights, and honestly a gift at this point. Let's just try it like this. So this matchup should be, like, very positive. In my experience so far, it's been very positive. It's pretty gross. Obviously, that doesn't mean that, you know, very positive doesn't equal guaranteed win every time. It just means very positive. So we're gonna hope that that very positive carries us to a victory. That was a pretty sweet game one, though. I'm pretty stoked about that. I liked it. Ah, the good old no-lander. Yup. Yup. It's better. We're on the draw, and there's another gate. All right, it's actually pretty good. So the question is, do I think that the 3 life is going to be relevant? I don't know. Ah, yes, the stop from last game. I don't know. I don't know if the 3 life is going to be relevant here. I'm going to say... And then we found another gate. I think I'm going to go like this and then just growth spiral. Because this means I get to have 3 gates and play Gates Ablaze next turn, which I think is going to be a lot more relevant than 3 life. It's going to save me... It's going to gain me more than 3 life to do that. Duress. Alright, well, I should respond with this then. Because that's the only way I don't get the Gates Ablaze killing his boys, is if he takes Growth Spiral. If he takes a Gates Ablaze, then it doesn't really matter, because I still have another one. Unless he has Black Source plus second Duress. He took Circuitous Route. I do think that's probably correct. Depending on the hand, obviously. There's a second Black Source, and intelligently, my opponent is not throwing more creatures into the graveyard that is Gates Ablaze. Alright, so now my opponent knows 2 out of the 3 cards in my hand. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that card really matters in this matchup at all. So I could just Gates Ablaze to kill this. But I don't think that's correct. Instead, I'm just going to play this to draw more cards. 1, to reduce the amount of information my opponent has on my hand, and 2, just so I can actually try to hit land drops more consistently. I mean, if they're gonna keep throwing creatures out there, you know, I might just Gates Ablaze them. Depends what they're gonna do here. They might just not play anything, which is probably the correct line. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So now I'm gonna play a Guild Gate, and I'm just gonna play this X3. Puts me to 12, which isn't super relevant. 11 and 12 are both very similar, but probably force a counterspell here. Yep. But that's okay. I'll get over it. If that is land as his unknown card, then that's good for him. Ooh, that's less than stellar. That might be a land. No, it is not. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to play a Gates Ablaze because, you know, it's set up perfectly for me, huh? Isn't that great? Card that my opponent knows about. Just about destroyed him. All right, we're probably about to just win the game here. Yep, feels like it. Yep, we just won. The game is over. It might not look over, but boy howdy is it. I mean, it's technically not. They do have to double chump and then they'll live on 1, and then they need their top deck to be exactly a removal spell. Also, it requires me to not draw a gate in the next 2 draw steps. So, I feel like it's over. There's a gate. That's game. There you go. Yeah, Nexus at gates is pretty good. This deck is sweet. I think I'll do one more match, actually. How long has this been going? Oh, geez, 1:10 already? It felt like nothing. Alright, I guess I'm not doing one more. But I'll finish the video off with, you know, obviously the rundown. But first I'm going to open a pack. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Come on, rare wild card. You know what? I'll take it, honestly. I don't think Domri's very good, but he's got a shot, you know? I'd rather not spend wild cards on him if I do end up playing a Domri deck. So let me finish this off with, you know, just an overview. I do think that if I were to make any changes to this deck as it currently stands, I might change up the sideboard slightly. Maybe cut 1 card from this. I don't know which one, maybe a Gate Colossus, and put a negate in the spot. So Gate Colossus kind of feels like an afterthought here, or an afterthought in this slot here. Gate Colossus, in my experience playing 4-color gates, feels like it's best against specifically like 1-for-1 control decks, like Esper. Against Esper, I think Gate Colossus is crazy good. I think against most other decks, Gate Colossus feels awkward, just because by the time that he's free, you've basically stabilized, right? And you probably don't need an 8/8 to kill your opponent, especially in a Nexus of Gates deck. So he does feel a little awkward. And he doesn't feel great against other varieties of control. And Banefire is definitely better than Gate Colossus against control, because just being able to like fireball your opponent for 12 uncounterable is just going to win games like very often. So I think that's the change I would make. The rest of it honestly feels really good. Maybe cut 1 Anticipate for 1 more of these main deck cards. If I had to choose one of these to bring up to 4x, it would either be Guild Summit or Expansion Explosion. Honestly, Anticipate feels kind of awkward here. I guess it's kind of just the flex slot, maybe. I'm not sure. But most of what this deck is doing just feels really good. I lost 1 match, right? Is that right? Or did I lose 2 matches? How many matches did I play? I mean, I swear, it felt like 30 minutes, and then I looked at the recording and it said 1:10, so I don't have the greatest memory, short-term memory for that sort of thing, but regardless, the deck feels great. It's very fun, and it's shockingly cheap on Arena. You honestly probably don't need Knight of Autumn. It would make the deck better, but you don't really need it. And what's super nice is that despite the fact that it is a 4-color deck, there are just there's 6 rare lands in it. A Steam Vents, a Breeding Pool, and 4 Plaza of Harmony. So let's actually count. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 rares main board. 14 rares total. And then mythics, there's Crisis, Nexus, that's 6. 7 mythics total. I mean, it is very cheap on Arena, like relative to other things. On top of that, I believe everybody has 1 Nexus of Fate by default. I'm pretty sure that was the thing, is that everybody got like 1 of every card in like Ixalan, Rivals of Ixalan, and M19, maybe also Dominaria when they did their last reset, something like that. Regardless, it's very cheap on Arena, and it honestly feels really good. And the best matchup that I've come across so far is Wet Golgari, which is great because so many people are playing that. So if you do want a deck to just kind of climb, it's not going to be like the fastest grind ever, but your win rate should be fairly high with this deck if you can get it down. One thing worth mentioning, I didn't do a lot with Wilderness Reclamation in this video, but one thing that you really need to make sure you're doing is if you have a Reclamation in play, or you have a chance to have a Reclamation in play by the end of the turn, just set a stop on your end step. Just do that every time. Get in the habit, just do that. Because if you forget and your opponent has no actions that they can take, and you have no actions that you can take until your own end step, then what'll happen is it goes to the end step, untaps all your lands, but because it's your turn and you don't normally hold priority in the end step on your own turn, just by default, that's how Arena works, then it'll just pass to your opponent's turn. So if you have a Nexus of Fate in hand, then you just won't be able to play it before your opponent gets to untap, which is really stupid. And it's very tilting. Even though it's like, oh, I set a stop. I did that in my first main, right? Like, it should have worked. But the reason that doesn't work is because the auto-passing is like server side, basically. If both me and my opponent have no actions to take, then it basically will say, okay, first main phase, you have no actions that you can take from, here until the end of your turn. So then it'll just pass, and the opponent's in basically the same position. What'll happen is the game already is like, you're in the opposing, like, whatever the next spot where somebody has priority and can play a spell is, which would be your opponent's first main, right? Like, it snaps there, right? It goes from your first main to theirs. Even though there's animations, those don't count into what the server is seeing at all. So just set a stop. Do that every fucking time, because you're gonna get tilted if you don't. I know that I've gotten tilted multiple times already from it. So to avoid tilt, just set stops in your end step every single time. But yeah, that's the deck. That's the games. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun to play. I do actually, I feel like this is the kind of deck where I'm just going to keep playing it, like, non-stop. I'm not the kind of guy, I don't really, stick with a single deck unless it tickles my fancy in a very specific way. The decks in the past that did that were in Innistrad. Well, it was Avacyn Restored Standard, I think. Scars was still definitely in it. And there was a Havengold Lich Heartless Summoning deck with Priest of Urabrask and Perilous Mirror. That deck was dope. That one I loved. Then there was Aristocrats in Return to Ravnica Standard, whichever set it was, maybe Gatecrash. I think it was Gatecrash was Cartel Aristocrat. And then Eggs in Modern, way back when, before Stan Sifka decided to play the bad version of Eggs and make Second Sunrise get taken out back and fucking shot in the back of the head. It got Lenny'd real good. Before that, I was playing the good Eggs deck and having a blast. But other than those, honestly, I haven't really ever had a deck outside of those where I'm just like, I really want to play this. But I think this deck might be that. I think this deck tickles my fancy in just the right way. So anyway, thank you for watching. Oh yeah, by the way, this is also a rare, but I think everybody has one. So thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I think in the next video we're going to be doing the Phoenix deck, not Drake's. I actually think that the Drake's deck without Phoenix is worse than the Phoenix deck, despite the fact that the Drake's deck has had better placings since Ravnica Allegiance came out, the one that doesn't run any Phoenixes. I think that's mostly just because it's early metagame, and also I don't think people were anywhere near the correct Phoenix lists right away. In fact, I think people were just kind of adding Terramanders and keeping in Crackling Drakes and not changing the curve and all sorts of stuff like that. So I do think that you should be changing it up, and I do think that deck is pretty good. So I think that's the next one. So that'll be next week. I'm going to try and keep these uploads consistent, so every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time is when they're going to go up, ideally. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later.